welcome to Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet where Marvel Studios spent 4 years producing single hero movies just so that they could appear in the Avengers. I'm your host, Rob.
And I'm your host, Chad, and that did happen.
It did happen, and it's awesome.
We're talking about that today. We're talking about Marvel's The Avengers, the movie that just came out in theaters last weekend. And what are we doing tomorrow?
And we're sticking with the theme. We're going to have an epic extra for you tomorrow. Really just going in-depth, the spoiler-ish kind of stuff for Avengers, if you're one of like the 6 people who haven't seen it by now. And really just talking about how that could compare to some of the other summer movies. And then on Thursday, what do we have?
We're doing Avengers vs. X-Men comic book series, our first comic book segment. We got the first 3 issues, and we're going to dive in and see what we think about that.
Yeah, we got a theme going this week. We got the shirts on. I mean, we are excited for this week. I hope you're excited too. I mean, with just this week was a good week to be a geek. So
it's true, Geek Week.
Yeah.
So as always, you can follow us on Twitter at Epic Geek Out. Also send any emails in to fans@epicgeekout.com.
You can like us on Facebook. It's an easy way to communicate. We've been posting some articles on there that we find interesting. And again, the best thing to do for us is to subscribe to our YouTube page. So please do that, but let us get into our review of The Avengers. So today we are reviewing The Avengers, starring everybody? Chris Evans, Samuel L. Jackson, Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Clark Gregg.
I'm just going to put a cast photo up 'cause I want to do all this.
Ton of people. I'm sure I missed someone. Mark Ruffalo, new as the Hulk. Directed by Joss Whedon. That's the biggest thing, I think. He was the one who was able to bring them together. So basically, it is, like I said, in the opening, 4 years in the making in movies, since Marvel has existed in the making for comics. It is the story of bringing the team of the Avengers together. They're facing a villain from the movie Thor, Loki, who is Thor's brother, who now has an army on his side. So much to talk about. Don't need to get into any of the plot points because this is really, we've had prequels or origin stories really for each of the characters with their original movies. Iron Man, Iron Man 2 for, Black Widow, Thor, Captain America, and then, the random Hulk movies. So Chad, what did you think of The Avengers?
Well,
can you tell we like it? I think we like it.
It's hard to review this subjectively just because I was trying to think, like, if we're the best people to review this, because we're not going to be objective for it. There's no possible way to be objective, I don't feel. But then I was like, but are we the perfect people to review this? But I think everyone who's...
It was made for...
Yeah.
We are the demographic in Geek.
If you're watching this show, you probably have seen it, and you probably love it. So to just give you a recommendation to see it is a moot point. Because
can we say we both recommend it?
Yeah.
So let's get past that.
So by the time you're seeing this, you probably know that it broke records. It's crazy. It's
at this point right now, it's estimated to be the first movie in an opening weekend to ever break 200 million with 200.3 million and be the largest opening of all time.
Which it just makes me happy because there's nothing wrong at all with this movie. Everything is great. And it succeeds on that level of just the geekness of it, but maintains that commerciality and appeal. I don't understand how it's doing so well when it's such a thing. It's hard to talk about because it's so crazy. So what I said when we left the theater is how is this real? Is this movie real? Because it doesn't seem like this could ever be possible. Because there's probably the number one thing that when I was a kid, my parents told me to go take a nap. I didn't go take a nap. I played with my action figures, these action figures, and what I dreamed in my head was what was on the screen. And it's just insane. I don't know if there's any other property that exists ever that I had that experience with as a kid and then could be made into something this great. Because Star Wars, I love Star Wars, but I grew up, those movies existed, And some other things like that, like Back to the Future, that came out the year I was born. So there's nothing that I could really... had as exposure to, but then became this crazy thing. I can't even believe that there's 4 movies or 5 movies, whatever it is, that have an overarching plot. They committed to it and stuck with it. It's
the fact that they're under the now umbrella of Marvel Studios It's incredible. I mean, DC is like,
They're
oh wow, we missed
screwed.
the boat on this one. I mean, well, I don't think they're screwed so far with the Batman, but I mean,
they're
they're
behind the curve
concept.
as
I
far as
mean,
that. But like,
well, this takes what comics does,
Yeah.
and brings people together, and has, you know, and TV does it sometimes, and has this overarching storyline between them, and then puts them together for something like this. Nuts, absolutely nuts.
It's the hardest thing to review because it's perfect. Like in my eyes, it's perfect. It's amazing. It's like there's a scene where they pan through all the different Avenger characters in an action scene with movement. Like it's just amazing. It's mind blowing. It's like comic book panels, like we said.
Yeah.
On the screen, the writing's amazing. The acting's amazing. Everything's just great. But the only thing that like I don't want to see another Iron Man movie. I don't.
I do.
I want to see another Avengers movie and just only Avengers movies. Like I'm gonna feel like I miss the other characters for the next Iron Man. I'm gonna miss that aspect. But that's the only.
And that's
thing.
a hurdle, and that's going to be a hurdle.
That's
that
the
they
only
have.
thing. I mean, the Hulk is just like they did it perfectly, and the other two Hulks were. It's a tough character to do, but man, it was just.
But again, the difference with this one, it was the Hulk and the Avengers, not the Hulk standalone.
Right.
And I think the Hulk is a great complementary character
But-
to the team effort.
Yeah, but
And-
every single person was given time on the screen, and even Black Widow and Hawkeye, which they don't have their own movies, they gave them a nice little bit of a story that
their own. Yeah.
gave you enough about the character that you could follow along, and just everyone was touched on. Everyone had a fight scene. There's not one person I wanted to see more of, less of. It was amazing.
So you liked it?
I think it was alright.
Okay.
No, it was great. It was perfect.
My movie growing up that I wanted to see was X-Men. I was a
Right,
big
right, right.
X-Men fan. There wasn't an Iron Man cartoon. There wasn't really a Hulk cartoon. I watched the X-Men a lot and stuff like this. But in just like a cinema like thought process, like just the movies, what they did with the fact that they spent 4 years doing origin stories, each of them money-making, successful movies in their own right. And even like I revisited Captain America last night. Great cast in Captain America. Throwing Tommy Lee Jones, throwing Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
Incredible. And others, of course. It is in a cinema experience and just a movie experience. It's incredible. That's it. It is an incredible experience. The fact that they took standalone money-making films and decided to bring them together, and hell, it worked.
Yeah.
They Marvel Studios, which is still a young studio, has now the highest grossing movie of all time opening weekend under their belt, and that's incredible. Incredible because that's a gamble. I mean, it
made something like $635 million internationally too, which is insane.
And it's a gamble for the future for what you said, and I hope to talk more about in our Epic Extra tomorrow, in just like what are they going to do towards going in the future towards this. But it's great. I would like to really comment though on one aspect of the movie that I wasn't expecting and loved, was the humor of it. We've reviewed a lot of comedies recently, and I love comedies. I think it's great to be able to go to a movie and laugh. To not only be able to go to an action movie, a movie that has the best CGI I've ever seen. There was not a moment in it that I was taken out because something looked fake.
Right.
And I was like, that's great. I mean, that's awesome. And to laugh. I laughed. I had the hardest laugh ever.
And cheered. We
Cheered.
clapped in a movie, which we don't do. If you've seen other reviews, Rob hates that.
I hate it.
But I just wanted to freaking geek out with everybody there. I wanted to cheer.
Well, and he said to me, I mean, we were privileged the fact that we got to see an early screening of this the Tuesday before it was released. We did a little bit of travel to get to there. I unfortunately drank an energy drink, and then we got stuck in traffic, and I got nervous beyond all belief because if we drove and missed it, it would have been the worst thing in my life. But I literally sat at the edge of my seat, smiled, and just watched. And I've seen it now 2 times before this review. Just got back from my second screening of it with other friends, all of whom enjoyed it. Some of our friends and fans who are down in Florida have texted and said, what a great movie, asked us questions about the ending, It is great. It is a movie. I was talking to my nephews about going to see it, and they were excited to go see it. So it hits my dad wanted to go see it. It hits if you like one of the characters, you're going to go see this movie.
Right.
I like all the characters, so
Exactly.
it was incredible.
And it kind of stands alone. You don't really. I mean, the backstories help, but the story's contained. Like, you know what I
The
mean?
backstories definitely do help more than I thought they did the first screening, because I just watched Captain America again last night,
Right.
and there was a lot of little things in there, like
Yeah, it definitely
But
enhances
it
it, but I
does.
think you could
Yes.
easily see it.
Absolutely,
I mean, it's
'cause-
definitely not going to get the whole thing.
And the best part is that the characters were the characters. The characters didn't deviate. He let the character, you know, because and this, in case people don't know, the other movies were directed by different people.
Right.
This is the first time Joss Whedon is directing a
He's
Marvel
I mean,
property.
I don't know how he did it.
Incredible, and he let them be themselves. He added humor. He enhanced the characters, I think is the best way to put it. It was just an incredible, overwhelming, great experience. The second viewing was as good as the first. Again, there's this huge moment, and I missed it, what was said, because people were laughing,
I read
and I need to
which was
read
fun.
what it was. But I'm going to go see it again, probably. Like, I will
Yeah, I
definitely see this. I'll definitely buy this. This is a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed from start to finish, and it was great.
I think if you go see it. Even if you don't like,
And go see
I
it
don't
a
think-
second time, because you will pick up more and you'll enjoy it just as much. So
Yeah, I mean, it's
definitely check it
awesome.
out. This is, I mean, I said this to one of our friends. This movie is why we do this show.
Yeah,
Hands down, this is why we do the show. So please go check it out if you didn't. I think you will thoroughly enjoy
I
it.
can't say anything else. So now it's that time where we like to give our geek thanks for the week, or for the day rather. Rob, what are you thankful for?
I am staying in character. I'm not thankful for Captain America, even though I'm wearing the shield. I am thankful for Joss Whedon. Amazing. All I can say, I mean, director of the Avengers, creator of Buffy and Angel, two shows I watched religiously when growing up. Writer of Cabin in the Woods, which check out our review if you haven't already. We loved. It was great. You know, Firefly, I just watched the first couple episodes of that and really enjoyed that. That's a shame that it's not around anymore. But he has it. And if I loved something geeky, I know I could give it to him to turn it into a comic, to turn it into a TV show, to turn it into a movie, and he would do it with the respect that the medium, that the content deserved to whatever medium it went to.
Right.
And I think that's saying something. I think, you know, to be serious, I think sometimes people look at comic book movies as just, oh, they're a comic book movie, but I think they can transcend the genre, and I think he did a great job doing that with the Avengers. And I hope I get to shake his hand at one point in life, look him in the eye, and say, thank you. You did it justice. And so that is what I'm thankful for today.
I echo that sentiment for sure. I tried a list of thanks, but I'm trying to keep it
In
comic
theme.
book related. So mine's very general, but I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna thank comic books as a whole,
As
as
a
a
whole.
medium. You know,
That's a
because
big old
it needs
thanks.
to be said. I, for one, as we said on the show before, we both kind of really just dabbled in comics a little bit growing up. We weren't huge, nerds with comics, but
Yeah, I collected them for the pictures.
yeah,
Like, just
you know,
to have them.
I had
Yeah, I
a
didn't read
few
'em.
here and there. I didn't follow really any series growing up, anything like that. But through our review on Thursday and other things, we've been getting into comics more. And especially the comic that we're reviewing on Thursday, it really just, this is a little preview, I guess, at my review. It just excites me seeing that come to life on paper. It's such a different medium. And you can do things with comics that you can't do with other mediums. And it's just a fun, geeky thing that makes me happy to be a geek, you know? And
Definitely.
I enjoy it. And all the characters have come out of comics. I mean, there are plenty. So the
Yeah,
Avengers
definitely.
wouldn't exist without comics. So thank you, comic books in general. We love
Absolutely.
you. So stay tuned. We have 2 more episodes coming up this week in our Avengers theme. Tomorrow we're going to be
Extravaganza.
a little bit pulling the curtain back on some spoilers of the Avengers, talking about the future of the franchise.
Definitely see the movie before you watch tomorrow.
Yes,
Because
for
we're just
sure.
going to be talking. We
Yeah.
don't have a plan on what we're going to say, but we're going to try to cover a lot of crap.
Yes, a lot of crap. And Thursday we have the review of Avengers vs. X-Men, the new crossover event that Marvel has out this summer. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching this episode of Epic Geek Out.